Thank you, Bernard. Isn't there a French saying, let them eat cake? Thank you for having me today. I want to start out with a saying from a famous British scientist, Lord Kelvin, who said, you can't manage what you can't measure. And that explains a lot of the interest in smart meters. But measuring is not enough, of course. And consumers, energy users need to know, they need to be able to see those measurements, they need to understand how those relate to costs, and then they need to be able to take actions to reduce consumption. So I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to focus on residential, but these lessons really apply to all customers equally and not just residential. So why is there all this interest in smart grid? We've heard it generically throughout the day, the benefits to supporting renewables, electric vehicles, energy efficiency, demand response, and so on. Well, here's some numbers. McKinsey put these together, and they total, if you add them up, $131 billion a year. This is for the U.S. The number for Europe would be similar. It's a larger population here, lower per capita consumption. So roughly same order of magnitude, very large amount. And again, this is per year. Now, of this amount, this portion at the top is roughly half of that. And that is where energy users are involved, either through energy efficiency, energy conservation, avoided cost of capacity, which is demand response, and shifting peak, which is also demand response. So this is the why. Now we get to the how. And my comment at the beginning, there are three things that energy users need in order to maximize their benefits and in turn the benefits to society. The first is information, the second is pricing signals, and then the third is automation. Now all of these aren't needed. You can get away with one, but when you add them together you get greater results. And so the first of those is providing energy back in a way that's useful and usable and easily accessed by energy users. And a key part of that is consumption timing. Historically, consumers have known how much they've used in a month or a quarter, but not when they used it. And with energy, with electricity, it matters because the costs vary so much. The second is price. They don't see changing prices for different times of day, so they don't know that they could save money by using energy off-peak. And of course, they can't actually save money unless they're on some sort of time-based rate. So you need to add that pricing option. And there are different ones out there, and there are different responses to those. And then the third thing is automation, making this response convenient and easy with set and forget devices. Again, you don't need all of these, but the more you have, the more response you're going to get. These are actually similar or same results that Jessica presented, so I'm not going to go into them. But you see how they're synergistic, the three effects: pricing, information, and control. Now, how do you make this happen in reality? You need standards. We've heard about standards all day as well. Well, what are we talking about? If you look at the standards efforts going on, there are over 100 standards related to smart grid that are being talked about, have been adopted, are being adopted. And when you look at all those, you easily drown in that jungle of standards. But what it really boils down to, again, is the three things: pricing, information, and control. And you really only need standards. You need all those standards, but the three most important ones and the three that really drive the market are the three that are shown here. One of those standards is the interface between the meter and the premise, home or business, where you get real-time information. You can't get real-time information if you don't have that. And if you don't have a standard, you're not going to have automated control of devices, lights, equipment, appliances, because you need a standard to have very low cost of automating those devices over time. The second one is the interface on data, and that's the one that either between the data collector, which could be the utility, or a central hub like the DCC in the UK, and energy service providers or directly to the home. And there's an interesting example of this that I mentioned here, Green Button, where customers at about 20 utilities in the States can click on a button, download their data after logging into the utility website, and then they can use it any way they want. They can put it in their own spreadsheet, but mostly what they do is they put it into an app that's provided by somebody else, and then that will tell them how much they could save by installing solar panels or by buying an electric vehicle. And then the third thing is you need the privacy and security over all of this to ensure that that data is protected. But these two standards allow you to share data and allow you to operationalize that control. So again, information, pricing, and control. Left some contact information, and thank you again for having me.